was right at the beginning of September. We heard from the Education Operations Center. I'd heard the governor speak of it. I wasn't quite sure how that would look for us as a Catholic private school. I was pleasantly surprised that it just felt like individuals wanted to help us.
LEA assistance teams are the teams that actually proactively and reactively go out to conduct site visits. These teams consist of a registered nurse, a social worker, an educator, and a representative from the Rhode Island Department of Education.
I definitely remember Dennis Mendes coming and Alex coming to visit us, and it was a very enjoyable visit. So we kind of split off. The nurses went with Alex, and Dennis and I went in another direction, and we were sharing best practices. Educator to educator or nurse to nurse.
LEA assistance teams go out to the schools. They provide a focused assessment, whether it's in response to a COVID-19 positive case or whether it was a proactive outreach from the school to request an evaluation of such processes as the arrival time or passing time, or just to have a conversation with the school leadership, school nurses, social workers, and other various faculty and staff.
I never got the intention that we were in trouble of any sort. It was just professionals reaching out to professionals to assist. What Dennis said to me was to share best practices. And so it felt like that's exactly what we were doing. We were sharing best practices.
Over the last month that the Education Operations Center has been established, we've been able to consolidate and identify best practices that are outside the box, very creative methods that may necessarily not be known to other areas, other schools. Mercymount had many best practices, but one I'd particularly like to highlight is at lunch. At lunchtime, they would play TV and music in order to help distract the children, so while they're eating with their masks off, they weren't actively engaged with one another and talking.
So now we have them sitting and eating and not talking. They're listening to music, they're listening to books on tape, they're watching some movies, they're doing some TikTok dancing, they're doing those types of, they're engaged in those kinds of activities that facilitates them not talking, eating their lunch, they get their masks on, then they go out to recess.
So the relationship between schools and the Education Operations Center is, the intent is to be close and to establish that relationship one-on-one. We've had school nurses who have been working with the EDOC nurses from the beginning, and they know that they will be there when they need them.
I'd say just call, really just call, reach out to them. They're professionals who really want to help other professionals. That's my experience. I really feel like we are in this together. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We all have the same goal, and that's to educate our children in the safest and most loving and nurturing environment.
Please reach out to us. We're here to help support you and to give the best quality education possible, and to allow us to help support those best practices so you can just focus on the education delivery.
You can reach our team at 401-277-1440 by email at Outreach Rhode Island or on our website, backtoschoolrhodeisland.com. We're here to help.